Hi, this is Suzanne Wagner. Thank you for joining me. I do a daily blog, and this one is going to be the numerology and the astrology for May 4th, 2021. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 14, and if you add the 1 and the 4 together, you get the number 5. The number 5 is all about the physical body, the earth, the animals, nature, taking care of your health, taking care of your well being. It is the symbol of the pentagram, which is the symbol of feminine magic. So the number 5 is all about getting physical, and the weather is perfect, and the time is now. And after a very long 2020, it is time to get back into shape and move. I see the stress and strain on so many faces on Zoom. It has been hard on everyone, except perhaps nature, who might have been grateful for fewer humans trouncing through their neighborhoods. We probably need to take a few pounds off and release some steam. Internal stress can be a killer over long periods of time. Now's the time to take care of yourself. Each of us is holding up a segment of our family unit. If we collapse, it begins to kind of pull things over. We are important, and we need to treat ourselves as important. Take a look at what we can be doing outside. Nature is very healing. It is time to shift the pattern into a more healthy one that will take off the stress and put a smile on our face. Okay, the astrology today. The moon is in Aquarius, pushing each of us to think outside the box and bring more intelligence into all interactions with others. This innovative moon will align with expansive Jupiter later today, and it helps us reach out for more pleasantries with others. I know that the social side of life is still a bit crimped. Slowly, we seem to be gaining ground. At least in the US, we can begin to use our imagination to help us see a possibility. There are things that we intend to do for the sheer joy of living. Those are always good decisions, especially if they include nature and movement. Later in the evening, the moon moves into the emotionally deep sign of Pisces, supporting a more compassionate lifestyle. Tomorrow, there is a Uranus-Jupiter quintile, and there will be 3 of these total throughout the year. One is going to be in July and another in December, and it brings in a more unique perspective for us to engage with, and possibly unique people for us to engage with. Expect the unexpected when Uranus is moving. As the old world unravels, a new world is also being created. We do not know what that may look like, but what we do know is that more is being asked of us on a daily basis. I believe in human ingenuity. I believe we have tools that can show us the way to a more peaceful and conscious world. I believe that a power is greater than us, pushing us in that direction. Let yourself come along for the ride towards a more open, loving, and integrated world. My quote for today: leaning into the moment, unsure what comes next, releasing concern, observing context. There are so many that try, but trying never works. Trying is like stubbing your toe. It always hurts. Trying holds a fear of making a mistake. Trying expends energy while the mind is hitting the brake. I want to believe that intention shows the path. I want to show that good things come after wrath. We have a duty to support all of life, even in times of difficulty and strife. Kindness arises even in treacherous times. Even animals show compassion oftentimes. And my blog for today. This is sort of dedicated to all the mothers out there, and guys, don't think I'm going to leave you out. I'll do this for the fathers and the males on Father's Day, but we're getting close to Mother's Day, so we're going to jump a little ahead of schedule. So Mother's Day is coming around soon, and I want to bring an early shout out for all the amazing parents out there who have taken on more than ever in this pandemic. Today, I want to talk about the feminine spirit and soul, and I will do the same for the males on Father's Day, around Father's Day. What women have done is what women have always done. Taken on what presents and put their own needs and agenda to the side to protect and nurture the children of the world. The feminine has repeatedly protected the next generation in ways that most forget to acknowledge. I understand the core of such actions are a biological imperative within the psyche of all parents. If you cannot successfully raise children who can survive and thrive in the world, it feels like a terrible failure and sets precedents that can put humanity at risk. That is why it seems so important and why the feminine repeatedly jumps in. Continuing the family line is of great importance in our genetic makeup. Do you recognize the places where your mother sacrificed everything for you? Do you see where she took a risk to make sure you got what you needed to move ahead? My personal favorite story of my mother was my last year when I was on scholarship at SAB, which is the School of American Ballet in New York. I had been on scholarship for 3 years, and this was my last year. My father sort of hated the whole thing and the whole idea of ballet for many reasons. The biggest being that he felt it was a dead-end job that would require a career shift at some point, and he wanted me to go to school now and have something to fall back on later. It made sense, but ballet is for the young, and everyone knows that. I watched an aging Nureyev who could not stop dancing because of his ego and need for acclaim while his body was falling apart. His dancing was not to the level of his younger self. I knew by watching him that I would have to learn to let it all go at some point and walk away before I became an embarrassment to myself. I was not in denial about the fact that I would have to leave and start my life over, but being a dancer was what I wanted, and I was willing to take that risk. And so at 17 years old, as I am ready to go back to New York to take my chance at getting into New York City Ballet, and I'm super excited because it was a defining moment. This was it. This was the moment where you make it or break it as a dancer. You either get into a company or you don't. But my father wasn't happy about it at all. He had finally had enough, and he refused to contribute financially to that dream. I was somewhat prepared for that because he had been slowly withdrawing support. He refused to pay for the ballet school, and so I got a scholarship. He refused to buy pointe shoes, so I got a job. He was trying everything to discourage me, but it only made me more determined. I learned early on that others never really know what is another's path. So this time, my mother secretly intervened. She called the bank without my father knowing and without me knowing, and she called the bank that held the note for our house and asked what was in our escrow account. They told her, and she asked to take the extra money out. And suddenly, without knowing why, I had the money to go to the last year at the School of American Ballet. And my father did not know where it came from until the end of the year statement when his mortgage payment went up because of it. To his credit, at least at that point, he decided to laugh at being completely tricked by the feminine. And by that point, I had gotten a job, not with New York City Ballet, but with the Berlin Ballet. And I was on my own, making a living and learning a language and a culture, which were all very valuable things in his world. So it all worked out. But I have to give my mother credit for it happening at all. In that moment, she said that she was determined that I was going to go. I remember her handing me the money and saying, "Be careful with this money. This is all I could get. Don't squander it on frivolous things." And I didn't. I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches from underneath my bed at the boarding house. I had, cream cheese and bagels under the bed. And, I was being super frugal. And that, was the way I needed it to be. And I didn't. I was super careful. And I somehow intuitively knew, woman to woman, that she had tricked him or did something slightly risky. She said later that she wanted to give me the opportunity to have my dream. Her parents had repeatedly stomped on her dreams, And she was bound and determined to not let that happen to me. So once again, I'm grateful to all the mothers out there who have been doing versions of the same thing for their children. Know that such selflessness matters in the evolution of compassion and love. And those moments do make a difference, even though we might not see it in the short run. But in the long run, there is a great gift the feminine gives to support the lives of their children and the legacy that she intends to leave behind. Thanks, moms. Talk to you later. Bye.